So you want to be a flapper girl. Maybe you're interested in being a flapper, but you don't know how much you can commit to, what it even looks like. Don't worry, you can find little ways to put little flapperness into your life, and I will show you. I have five easy steps that we will get into, okay? And I have a little fan that is very cute and also functional. And if you ever feel like you're just a little distracted, I know it's so hard to focus sometimes. As a fast-paced flapper girl myself, I understand, so just look at my fan or anything else I'm holding, okay? If you ever get really like, oh my god, there's so much going on, okay? So, number one, you need to embrace glamour. I don't mean this like in a superficial way. You don't need to look a certain way. You don't need to look better. Many would argue that I look better with my normal eyebrows and not the little ones I draw on. But they're wrong. You need to embrace glamour. Heavy eyeshadow, heavy, dark, thin eyebrows, heavy eyeliner, big lashes, dark red lips, red cheeks. It needs to be over the top. You're doing it right. You know you're doing it right when people think that you're about to go to a show or something. And then you can be like, no, I'm just being myself. I just always dress like this. And then they'll go, are you okay? And you'll be like, I'm fine. Don't worry. Well, let me show you. I've got a lipstick that I was using earlier. I was gifted this. It's actually way nicer than I usually use. It's a Valentino lipstick. I know. Usually I use Maybelline. Anyways, it's just really pretty. And I'll put a little bit on you, okay? Just a little bit up and down. And it's very important that you go right here in the middle. Boop, boop. A lot of people like to overline their Cupid's bow in this modern, fancy era. And that's okay. If they want to do that, that's their story. But if you want to be a flapper girl, it's very important to emphasize this little divot, your Cupid's bow. And don't do the whole lip. And for the love of God, do not overline your lips. If you like to overline your lips, I respect that. But again, if you want to be a flapper, that's just not the way. It's a specific look, okay? You can do anything you like in your life, but if you're trying to look a certain way, there's just some things that will ruin the illusion, you know? So, you need to embrace glamour. You know you're doing it right if you look like it's stage makeup. Number two, you need to party hard. I understand that sometimes partying, any sort of just interactions are hard. You need to understand that flapper girls, we understand that life is fun. Life is about having fun. Well, it's not only about having fun, but a lot of people like to play games, socially at least. You need to understand that their games do not concern you. Your goal for yourself is to have a good time and meet new people and have fun experiences. Other people can try and get you down. They can try and reject you from clubs. They can try and tell you you're not allowed in certain spaces. They can tell you that maybe they don't like you. It doesn't matter. Whatever they want to do is rude, boring, and worst of all, not glam. You are a party wherever you go. And if you're looking for a party, I promise you it's not hard to find. You don't need to be invited to parties. You just need to look interesting enough to get into them. Walk around, find music venues and clubs near you. Go in and you'll meet people. Party hard. Don't, be safe. But party hard, okay? Who knows what'll happen tomorrow? It's time to enjoy now. If you really want to go for it, you can figure out different Prohibition era cocktails to order when the bartenders don't look like they want to murder you. Listen, don't go to your local, pub and order a bee's knees. They will kill you. But if you go to a nicer spot, they got they have my personal favorite, The Last Word. But if you're at a less fancy spot and you don't want to overwhelm anyone, a gin and tonic is always a safe choice. So, number 2 is party hard. Flappers know how to party and dance, okay? Not enough people dance. You have to dance. And it doesn't matter if you look good. If you're in a space where people are drunk, they do not care. Number 3. Number 3, this might be the most important. If you want to be a flapper, you have to bob your hair. It is non-negotiable. For the record, I'm saying bob as a verb. So I'm not saying cut your hair. If you don't want to, your funeral, just kidding. I think everyone should bob their hair, but if you want to pin it up, that is also historically accurate. Some people did that. And you can try it out. If you're not ready to do a big cut, you can try pinning it up. And you can also do finger waves with longer hair to sort of mimic a bob. You can look it up. There's tutorials on how to do it. And there are also historically accurate tutorials you can look up. So make sure you're getting it from a legitimate source, okay? Because it's very easy to get the look, no offense, wrong. And we're in the interest of not getting things right because we are historical accuracy and oh my gosh, you have to do everything a certain way. You can do anything any way you want. But I personally think that I just love how things looked back then. And I think that how they actually looked back then look better than the modern interpretation. So it's just my personal advice. I'd also advise you that when you want to dance, when you go out and you party and you want to dance, dancing with a bob is like top 10 feelings in the world, okay? Because when you dance, dancing is fun, but when you could sit and just, I can't even let loose the way I want to right now because the chair will creak too much and I'll scare you. But let me tell you, it's a beautiful feeling. And I know that bangs can be scary, but let me tell you, it is a learning process, but when you figure out how to get your bangs to do the thing they gotta do, bad hair days are like a thing of the past. Sometimes the bangs will act up, but when the bangs are good, the whole look is good. Your face is good. It frames you nicely. Okay, number 4, dress the part. Dress the part. Now, you do not need to invest in a fully historically accurate wardrobe. No one has the time or money for that. First and foremost, clothing that is that old is usually deteriorating because it is that old, and also it was made before we had plastic clothing that does not deteriorate, which came to be actually around the 20s. So some things started being made with synthetic fibers around that time, but most of it is not. And so it's all deteriorating and it's also very expensive. So it's just not practical. But there are some basic things you can pick up to help emphasize the flapper in your wardrobe. Most importantly is silhouette. You don't want fringe. You want a drop waist, long silhouette. The goal is to make your torso look like it lasts forever. Let me show you something. Yes, if you want to be correct, it has to be below your knee. But in my opinion, people get the idea when you have the right silhouette. See this? It's a slip, and it is actually rather short. But every time I wear it, people are always like, oh my god, flapper, because they know what I'm trying to do. I have these sort of geometrical, some would say Art Deco shapes here, and this long silhouette draws you right to this part of the waist. So it kind of gives that drop waist illusion, even without being a drop waist dress. I also sometimes like to add a scarf and tie it at my hip to really give it that drop waist look. This is a modern a lot of people kind of like dresses at that length now, so I can't blame them for making it that way. Easy ways to sort of get that silhouette into your wardrobe. Actually, right behind this, I'll show you anyways, is a 30s swimsuit. And you can see it's like kind of how like a tank top and booty shorts looks today. So that's another way you could sort of recreate that silhouette. Another thing that you need is long beads. They can be pearls, they can just be beads. And these are another great way to lengthen your silhouette and add some 20s to your wardrobe. More accessories tend to be better. If you want rings, if you want, where are my, oh, here we go. You can even use costume jewelry. Everything I own is costume jewelry. Just pearl bracelets. This is a real vintage, but it's not from the 20s. It's just a vintage cuff bracelet that I really like. This one's from a thrift store and it was like $2. So it's another way to get that in your wardrobe. I also have, be quiet with her. This is not an authentic 20s bag, but any vintage beaded bag will do. Or not vintage, just a beaded bag. I love this one. It's like a raspberry. And it's very, very nice to look at. I also think that having nice, powerful fragrances help me get in a flapper mood. It's just very, alluring. Flapper girls, they like perfume. And this one is obviously not from the 20s, but a lot of the ones from the 20s have been reformulated, so it's hard to know exactly what they smelled like back then. But I just love dramatic scents. Things that are interesting, things that people pick up on. This one is called Banana Rush, and it does smell like bananas. And I kind of love that. I love that some people will not like that, but they will not forget it. And that is the most important thing. You want to be unique, dramatic, and absolutely insane at all times. Now, the last one, number 5, is probably the most important, and that's attitude. Now, of course, a big part of this is having fun, being cute. Of course, flapper girls, in the real sense, had a very large variety of personalities and backgrounds. Some were shy, some were outspoken, but many that we remember were sort of known for being outspoken. Of course, many of these people were famous, and famous people tend to have a certain personality. But I think a good way to be inspired by these incredible women is to be outspoken, express yourself authentically. Another big thing is embracing change. Now, the 20s was not a perfect time by any measures, and there's a lot to critique about social norms at the time. But something that I do like about the time is that it was a time of immense social change. It's important to remember when you talk about these girls, a lot of people who are into historical fashion sometimes have bad opinions about what they think about the past, and maybe things should go back to a certain way. This is lame and terrible. As flappers, we embrace change. So, as flapper girls, we use all of this to inspire us, to live authentically, to be grateful for what we have now and also what we don't have. Anyways, analyzing history, it's a lot. But I still think that there's a lot to take from the flapper and introduce it to our own lives to help us live glamorously, to express ourselves, to party hard. These aren't a perfect group of women, but there are women that I think that we can look up to nonetheless, in certain varieties. Anyways, I hope that you use this